Introduction to Classical Tibetan, Lesson 5.1, the Ladin particle. So far, we've learned that particles can show the functions of different parts of a sentence, that nominal groups are inseparable units, and that particles can be distributed across the elements within those units, and that the final verb in a sentence determines its structure and gives you a clue about the particles to look out for. In addition to these basic sentence structures, additional information can be added through the use of additional particles. We've already seen a few of these. The agentive particle can show the means by which something happens, or why or how something happens. The la particle can show where something happens, why something happens, for whom something happens, and so on. Now we're going to get into the specifics of some of these particles that are used to add more information. We've already seen some examples of the particle la being used to show things like location, as in the case of Kong Bu La Jo. This particle can actually function in a number of ways, and its use is important to understand thoroughly. This particle is called the Ladun, meaning the meaning of la, and it can actually be written in 7 different ways, as su, ru, tu, du, na, ra, and la. We've seen la used in previous lessons. It's always independent, so is na. The other 5 syllables change depending on the suffix of the preceding syllable. After ga and ba, we write tu. After sa, su. After nga, da, na, ma, ra, and la, we write du. And when there's no suffix, the spelling is either ra or ru. Ra is added to the end of the syllable, while ru is added after, forming a new syllable. The use of the Ladin particle is complex and can be confusing at first because they can be used in so many different ways. Today we'll just start by covering 2 uses of the Ladin particle. Sometimes the direct object of transitive verbs takes a Ladin. You will learn which verbs require a Ladin over time with practice. Verbs like to look, to help, or to harm are common examples of these special kinds of transitive verbs. For example, Daki kong la da. I look at him or her. The object requires a la particle here. Look on page 61 for more examples of this. The la particle can also indicate the object of most of the intransitive verbs of attitude, as we saw in lesson 4. For example, Sange ki tenpa la de. Here, the subject is omitted. We can translate the subject simply as one. So we say, one has faith in the teachings of the Buddha. In these cases, we only use la. We don't use any of the other 6 Ladin particles. The second use of Ladin that we're going to talk about today is to show location. All 7 Ladin particles can be used to show different kinds of location. They can be translated as in, on, at, to, during, and so on. To show location, all 7 particles can be used somewhat interchangeably. For example, Sange ki gyagar la chuteno and Sange ki gyagar du chuteno both have the same meaning. The Buddha taught the Dharma in India. Look over the examples on page 63 to familiarize yourself with the uses of the Ladin particle here. Sometimes the Ladin particle can be joined to a word indicating location that is preceded by a connective particle. For example, Nangdu means inside, and if we say Gompe Nangdu, it means inside the monastery. Gompa and Nangdu are connected by a connector particle, and the du here emphasizes location. There's much more to cover with respect to the Ladin particle, but we'll stop here for today. To review, there are 7 Ladin particles, and 5 of them change spelling depending on the syllable that came before it. These particles have a wide range of uses, but 2 of them are to mark the object of some verbs and to indicate location in time or space.